My hearty fraternal greetings to all the brothers and sisters that are gathered here this evening. At the very outset, I would like to congratulate our brother Joshi and his dedicated team for the excellent work that they are manifesting through group consciousness. You can find their devotion, dedication in every bit of the colony here, and also preparing this rainproof prayer and proceedings hall, which is not an easy work to do. A month ago, when we spoke to each other on telephone, I was informed by Joshi that it could be rainy time and he would like to, if possible, arrange the group life somewhere in the nearby Kalyana Mandapam. I told him very clearly that if we can do in the colony, that's the best. Any other place, the heart does not throb as much as it would do here. And they have done a metamorphosis of the place here. I haven't seen the place even after I came here. Only when I entered in the evening, I saw how much work is done. And it shows how much commitment they have in the Master, and with what depth of confidence that they have in the Master. They do such stupendous tasks as an young team. They have a long way to go, and I am very sure that Master CVV, who is known as the avatar of synthesis and who is also the Aquarian Master, he would really show up his energies once again from this center in such a manner to be a role model to all groups, not only in India but also outside India. I haven't seen such a commitment anywhere. To them, the central theme of their life is the Master. Everything is woven around the Master, and they live in total submission to that Master, and that energy is helping them at every point. If you speak to any member in the group here, they would only speak of the splendorous cooperation that they receive from the Master in every act that they attempt to. It's a continuous episode of one help or the other coming, and they are humbled by the presence of the Master on a daily basis. This is because they are living in humbleness and in dedication to the Master. None of them feels that they are doing anything, and they are daily experiencing the overwhelming active participation of the Master in their activities, not only in relation to the group work but also in relation to the family affairs, their related responsibilities and all. So that's where they stand to be congratulated on a stage like this when we start the proceedings. They deserve, and let the same humbleness, humility and obedience, dedication, devotion and Shraddha continue to be their foundation stones. At no point of time let them feel that they are the cause. The cause is elsewhere, and they have submitted themselves to a very great, very divine energy whose measurement no one knows, including Master E.K. Master E.K., one of the greatest lights in recent times, himself stated that we cannot measure the dimension of Master CVV because he permeates and pervades the whole globe and even beyond. And to him, transformation of this planet is the only work, and in that transformation of the people is part. So it's the global work and global transformation, and in the process individual transformation also takes place. People who are busy with their individual lives cannot see this grandeur of the Master. The Master is so abundant in his love, and that love can be experienced only in silence, not in an active, busy mind where there is the affliction due to Rajoguna. The one who knows how to be is the only one who can glimpse the presence of Master CVV. We are mostly engaged either in the personal life or in the group life with one activity or the other. But the truth is, if you remain to be, activity happens for you. That way you are never strained and you are never stressed, you don't have tension, and the Master functions through. The central theme of yoga, of jnana, is to be. And in that beingness, you can find the divine functioning through the human. That's the only way the great ones experienced the splendor of creation, the splendor of the divine, and the splendor in every bit of their life. So may this group grow from strength to strength in such humbleness, in such humility, in such obedience, that they accomplish greater acts with Master being around them, in them all the time. So let it be so. Today too youngsters got initiated into Gayatri Maha Mantra, which is meant to be the means for Brahma Upadesha, meaning a means to reach, to sit nearby the Brahman, the God Absolute. It has been the very purpose of life as is conceived by the seers and masters of wisdom of this holy land, that man is given the human form only to realize the Brahman. There is no other form in the creation where the Brahman can be realized. Not even Devas, please remember, they know Brahman. The Lord himself says in Bhagavad Gita, don't think that Devas know me. Many of them do not know me. Most of them do not know me. Only very few know me. Why? Because they are also born like you, from out of me. So they are much after the process of creation. They manifest, and they may be in the planes of light, yet they do not know the very source of their being. This is how in Bhagavad Gita Lord Sri Krishna gives a stunning declaration that even Devas do not know him or know me. Know the one I am consciousness, who is the basis for our creation. Nor do the animals, the plant, the mineral would know. Neither the planetary Devas, nor solar Devas, nor some of the cosmic Devas know me. They function in tune with a plan, not knowing me. So the only form in which the entire scheme of the Lord, the 7 planes of existence, 3 above the man and 3 below the man, can be experienced only in human form. There is no other form. And hence to realize Brahman was considered by the seers of this land as the very basic purpose of human life. Because when we have been in the animal form, we have eaten enough, we have slept enough, we have been emotional enough. Emotions, eating, mating, sleeping, these are all the activities of the animal. And you don't really need a human form to do that. So human form is therefore seen by the seers as an opportunity. So that opportunity has to be utilized. For that reason, the seers have conceived one of the grandest sacraments, that is Upanayana. Sacraments are meant to transform the beastly man into a cultured man, a raw man into a finished product. There are 42 sacraments in all in Sanatana Dharma, which would regularly result in culturing the body. The body consists of the mind, the senses, and the body of flesh and blood. This is the triple body. Whenever the instant scriptures refer to the body, they only speak of this bunch of the bodies, the mental, the emotional, and the physical body. And this is the vehicle, this is the animal which needs to be trained if the human has to utilize it. Just like you train a horse to ride over, or a bull to cultivate the land, or tame any animal which is otherwise very wild. An untamed horse is not useful for a ride. An untamed bull is not useful for cultivation. So the body has to be tamed, cultivated, and made subservient to the very purposes of the human who has descended into the body. The human descent is the second descent. So the body always has its program which is not in tune with the program of the human in him. An untamed horse or an untamed bull, its program is different. It looks for eating. It looks for using its senses to satiate the body. And its mind functions only to nourish, to protect, and to take care and even preserve the body. That is the main work of the lower mind. The lower mind always thinks of the body requirements. The higher mind, which is called buddhi, relates to the man. So there is a mind relating to the man, there is a mind relating to the body. So the mind related to the body is ruled by that mind which is called Ikshvaku, the king of the earth. Mind is the king of the earth. And then the mind of the man, who is essentially divine, is called Manu. So Manu is the higher mind. Ikshvaku is the lower mind. And the higher mind is the light of the soul. That is what is called buddhi. So this buddhi needs to be awakened. Unless buddhi is awakened, buddhiyaha yonaha prachodayat. We want that our wills be alerted, stimulated, so that the will would take over the working of the buddhic consciousness, would preside generally over all the program of the human life. Otherwise, man is satiating himself only with the desires of the body, the sense of taste, the sense of touch, the sense of sight, the sense of hearing, and the sense of smell, all are always pulling the man outside and fulfill the purposes of the body of flesh and blood. In spite of any great care that is taken about the body of flesh and blood, it perishes. So this body needs to be trained like an untamed horse or untamed bull, and then made it, and is to be made subservient to the soul, who is the man himself. Man is the direct descent from the universal soul as the individual soul. The universal soul is considered as Vasudeva, or the God in creation. The individual soul is called Jivatma. So there is the Jivatma and there is the Paramatma. This Jivatma, utilizing the body as a vehicle, shall have to do the necessary practices to recollect his original identity with the divine and know himself verily as the manifestation of the divine, as the Son of God, but not Son of man, but not son of the flesh and blood. It is ignorance that makes people think that man has comes from the earth and gets back into the earth. Man does not get back to the earth. It is the body that of five elements that gets merged with the five elements of the earth. But the soul itself has a higher purposes. It departs, but it departs with all the vasanas relating to his body, and consequently he is a bit heavy and comes back again and again and again into the body on account of unfulfilled desires relating to the body. So these vasanas have to be cleaned up. The association with the body shall have to be gradually shifted to the association with the soul. So that is the very purpose of Upanayana. It demands a lot of culturing of the body. The culturing of the body is required to be done according to the CS ever since the commencement of the 7th year. This is because it takes 5 years for the boy to gain control over the senses, and it takes a couple of years for him to gain control over the body, and he is able to think with his mind. So the mind, the senses and the body are made active. The taste is developed, the touch is developed, the sense of hearing, smelling and seeing is developed. So it is only in the very nascent state and not yet a state where it can get into certain set patterns relating to the body. So when the human, be it male or female, has such a tender body at the age of 7, that's the time it needs to be cultured. If you start culturing early, it becomes easy. Later, many habits relating to the sensuousness get crystallized, and it becomes very, very difficult to transform them. So that is the reason the seers say you have to start your cultivation and culturing of the body as early as possible. So that culturing is what is given as a way of consecration of the child to a particular way of living. He is supposed to bring the body under his control. If the body comes under his control, body is the best friend. Shariramidam khalu dharma sadhanam. For all the dharmas, for all the jnana, for all that you wish to accomplish, it can be done only with the body. and it can only be done with the help of the body, which is cooperative to you. So you need to gain the early cooperation of the body, early friendliness of the body. Otherwise, the body demands and the soul becomes subservient to the demands of the body. That's how people become slaves of their own habits, and it becomes difficult for them to pursue anything relating to divinity. The whole program, as is given in the ancient way of life, which is called Sanatana Dharma, is to appropriately culture the body. It starts with the father touching on the Sahasrara of the child that is being delivered from the womb of the mother. Later, just like we yoke the bull and try to thread the nose and see that the bull is put to good use. Many things are done to the bull. Likewise, to the bull of the body, it all starts with the right food, which is called Annaprasana, and in fact with a right sound relating to the planetary combination in which he took birth. That's where the Namakarana happens. Namakarana is a process by which the right sound relating to that soul, as per the guidance of astrology, is given so that his soul energies respond to the situation more than any other thing. This is a knowledge by itself. Later he is given Annaprasana, where he is supposed to give chesty food and not all kinds of food, and he is supposed to be given the right direction in matters of taste, because taste is the first sense that is developed by the human, which relates him to the objectivity, because the taste is the means by which you accept something from the objectivity into you on a very tangible and physical plane. There is no other sense that gives you a physical, tangible touch with the objectivity, that is earthy. So the contact with this earth happens with the taste, and hence it should be kept pure. If you do eat anything and everything, you get into problems. The body would not cooperate. It demands, mostly all our taste relates to those items of the food that are not agreeable to us. The disease in us demands that kind of food, that we keep on taking only that kind of food so that the body decays. All our taste orientations should therefore be reoriented right from the point of Upanayana. A child who is accustomed to certain unhealthy food, even in the childhood, it's very impossible for him to come out of it at later age. So they become slaves of taste. So this is one which has a contact with the physical. Likewise, touch is another sense which has a direct contact with the physical plane relating to this earth. So that touch comes to him as an urge from within, as a sexual urge, and that can also bind him. The other senses like hearing, seeing and smelling are subtler than these two senses. The two T's, the touch and taste, are the ones who would bind the soul to the body and the body to the surroundings. So that's why right food for Annaprasana. And then Aksharabhyasa is another important event. In the meanwhile, there are Chavalopanayana and all that, where you pierce with a golden thread the centers in the studs of the ears, because the ear studs carry the energies of Jupiter, and gold among metals has Jupiterian quality. Through piercing the ears, we are stimulating Jupiter. That is done even before Aksharabhyasa. Like that, so many rituals with a proper and scientific understanding of the human constitution and the occupation of varieties of planetary principles in the body were known, and accordingly the right energies were stimulated right from the childhood. even if these initial sacraments are not very well done, at the point of Upanayana, where the child has 7 years of age, that's the time till 21 years, he should be put to a process of consecration. Without that process of consecration, that child would never later be amenable to anything relating to the light, anything relating to divine. Even if he has the urge, his own body is a great obstruction. The body demands are different from demands of the soul. The soul would like to get up very early in the morning. The body says no. The soul would like to give very nourishing and limited food to the body. The body does otherwise. The soul would like to see the light through the eyes, but the body has other program. So the lower mind makes a blind for the higher mind of the soul, and you can't see anything. You would only see that which is worldly. You don't see anything divine unless this veil of the mind is lifted up. And hence this consecration of Upanayana was given in the ancient times, not only for the boys but also for the girls. If you see Garga Sampradaya, he has given as much the ritual to the girls as it is for the boys, because be it the female or male, they are human and they have the potential to accomplish self-realization, realization of Brahman, and that is where it is given as an equal opportunity. Even Gayatri Mahamantra was not prohibited for the woman and for the Sudras. It was not prohibited by the seers. It is only a distorted version that is prevailing due to impact of Kali on the tradition. It is said that the woman and then the fourth category of the beings, they serve so much, their life is full of service. And they need, therefore, not necessarily get into Vedic knowledge, not necessarily get into the rituals. It's an advantage that they need not, others must. That's how it was, but it got changed. So the consecration path shall have to be the same, be it for the female or the male. That consecration is what is given to these two youngsters today. Whatever they missed right from their 7th year till date, they have to now cover the areas. There is a lot of areas they have to cover because the body tissues get crystallized. No doubt about it. It is called body, it is called Deha up to 35 years. Deha in Sanskrit means that which grows. And thereafter it is called Sarira, meaning that which decays. So after 35 years, the body cells are so well crystallized, and thereafter they are not elastic enough, they are not flexible enough, and they resist any change that you bring in. In the Old Testament, this 35-year cycle is called Ezekiel's wheel, and in the Indian system, up to 35 years they say it is Deha, thereafter it is Sharira. So you cannot do anything if you don't start early. That's why the CS said the earlier the better. Start it as early as possible. The earliest is 7th year, because by the time you have control over the body, the 5 senses, and then a bit of the mind is forming already, certain habits are getting formed, so it's all tender, the body is ready. From that moment the body needs to be trained. If it is trained well, then it is useful for you for your journey as the human being. Otherwise you would only be a server of the body, server of the animal. Human, there is the animal part in him. All that is below his diaphragm is the animal part. From diaphragm up to the brow center, it is human. From the brow center up above, it is all divine. So he is 3 in 1. So this 3 in 1 shall have to first tame the lower part so that it becomes cooperative. That's the reason why all the rituals which are to be done, all the sacraments which are to be done, right from the point of birth, they are all redone so that with the impact of the mantras, the consecration up to 7th year is complete. Then he is made to make certain promises. Since these promises are made by them in Sanskrit, they don't know what they are. That's the reason we need to study before we take to any ritual. Marriage is also a sacrament. These are the 2 major sacraments in human life. One is Upanayana, the other is Vivaha. So this sacrament of Upanayana, in that you make lot of promises. One promise is that you shall sleep on the floor. Bhusayana. The enemies to this consecration to the child at the 7th year is no other than the parents. They don't allow because of their excessive pampering of the child. They can't allow their children to sleep on the floor. On the floor means with a mat, preferably of darbhas. Which parent allows this? And they are not allowed to take hot water bath, because the body should be seasoned to resist the seasonal changes. That can happen only in the childhood. And there is a way to see that you can take normal water bath. When you do enough pranayama, when you do enough physical vyayama in the morning, the body is warm enough and it can accept the normal temperature water. But that cannot happen at a later years. So they are asked to sleep on the floor, and they are asked to take up normal water bath. They are made to get up 2 hours before the sunrise and do the ritual starts with washing the teeth and cleaning the tongue to start with. And then they have to do some exercise. And then take the exercise, inevitably the asanas, because asanas is the only one exercise through which the spinal column is kept supple, elastic and soft. And hence the energy flow which is conducted through the etheric body, which exists in the various centers of the spinal column, through that the element of ether, which is called akasha, air, fire, water and matter, they are very well regulated if these centers function in order. And hence asanas have been the sole purpose, sole program given in the early hours of the morning to make the back supple, elastic and soft. If one has his back soft, supple and elastic, he cannot contract diseases. It can resist any seasonal change, it can resist disease, it enables excellent flow of vitality into the body, and hence this is done before the dawn. And then an hour before the dawn, they are made to chant certain sacred sounds. After the exercise, they are expected to take shower and then chant the Vedic hymns, which is the fundamental in every school of yoga or in any ashram of a Sadguru. That chanting shall have to be for an hour. By that, you would stimulate the strength of the ether in you, which relates to the throat. In the throat center, you have Akasha, the 5th center. So at that center, and the quality of Akasha is sound. When you make right utterance of sacred sounds, the ether in you gets stronger. And from out of ether only air, fire, water, matter generate. From out of Akasha you have Vayu, Agni, Apas and Prithvi emerging. So hence this throat is throat center is given highest importance. In fact, in discipleship, what is important is the throat center. It has to be kept virulent, strong, and should not be allowed to be affected. If any ill health comes, first it attacks the throat. Be it cold, be it cough, first you are affected here. So this has to be kept strong. So that's why the sacred sound utterance. After that, you have to do this Gayatri Mahamantra. And then when it comes to food, you should master taste in the early stages of your life. That's where nourishing, bland food is suggested. I don't think any parent can accept these regulations. That is why the child was sent to the teacher's ashram. In every community there was a man of wisdom, isn't it? Otherwise it's no community. అప్పిచ్చువాడు ద్విజుడు ఎప్పుడు నెడజడక పారు ఏరును ద్విజుడు చొప్పడిన యూరును చొప్పడకుండట్టు యూరు చొరకము. If there is no flowing river, a flowing stream, don't live in that place. A flowing stream has all the energy to take bath. We don't have it now. We have developed such a so-called advanced living. All ancient civilizations, be in the east or in the west, they were all on the sacred banks. In India it was so Ganges, Indus, Godavari, Krishna. All seers were living there, communities were there. So also Nile. So also the rivers in Europe. So also the rivers in America. All civilizations essentially grew on the banks of living streams. Anyway, that is not there. The second thing is you should have a man of wisdom in your community, otherwise it's unworthy to live there. Who is a Dvija? Dvija is a twice born one. He was not only born in the body of flesh and blood, he worked out his life that he is born once again in light. And to be born once again in light only, this Upanayana sacrament is conducted. That is the goal. Just as a routine to be completed with before you take to marriage is not a sincere way of doing it. We have to get back to these realities. It cannot be a formality. Whom are you deceiving with your formalities? Yourself only. So you need to go to a man of wisdom under whom the child is trained. That's how there was the meaning of Upanayana means to get to the teacher, to go nearer to the teacher. That is Upanayana, to go nearer to him. Nayana means to walk, Upa means to nearby. That's one understanding. Another understanding is the opening of another eye, Upanayana. The third eye. For that also, this is the process. And you are given Sandhya Vandana and Brahmopasana, that is Gayatri Mantra, to regularly recite above the brow center, visualizing yourself at the brow center. And you better go through the Sanskrit text either in Kannada or in English or in Telugu, so that you know what all you have promised as Upanayana Vatus. If you take to the discipline more or less, in a matter of 14 years, you would be a brilliant instrument for the human being. The body becomes an excellent horse, like a white horse, Panchakalyani. It obeys you, it does anything that you tell it, and it doesn't get tired, and it doesn't demand things. You would just give the right care to it, that's all. You don't neglect it, because it's your friend. It has to be your friend. Otherwise, it works contrary to you, and it doesn't allow you to do anything. That's where Krishna says, the Atman is friendly to the Atman. The Atman can be unfriendly or even antagonist to the Atman. What are these two Atmans? One is Dehatma, another is Jivatma. Then comes Paramatma. So if Dehatma does not cooperate with the Jivatma, then this Jivatma cannot wriggle out of the body. He is supposed to mount it. Just like we mount upon the horse, we mount upon the bull. All the deities, they mount upon the bull, the horse, the tiger, the lion, isn't it? That's indicative that they have mastered. So we too have to master the body. Then contemplate. When you are down below the diaphragm, there is nothing for you to contemplate, only about food, and about sleep, and about rest, and about comfort. Body always looks for comfort. That's its quality. You should accept that. And see that it is satisfied with the minimum comfort. That minimum comfort satisfaction comes through a regular training. Otherwise, it always demands comfort and you don't do things which are not comfortable to you. But many of us cannot sit on the floor, isn't it? Why? Because we are accustomed to comfort. So you should feel proud of those who can sit squat for hours together. That's already something. So likewise, body comforts shall have to be maintained at a minimum, and the comfort of the soul should be kept up at its maximum. That's how the travel will start. Until then there is no travel. For the soul, for the human soul, travel starts only after the body is well regulated. So regulation of the body is one part of the consecration. Contemplation upon the Brahman is the other part of the ritual. The ritual has a twofold purpose. On one side you keep on taming the body. On the other side you keep on attuning to the very source from which you have come, the very source from which all that is has emerged. So there is the divine at Sahasrara. And then thereafter there is the mother with the three qualities, which are both a spiritual triad and also a triad that can condition us. The spiritual triad are what we call Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. They are the will, the knowledge, and the intelligent activity. Maheshwara stands for the will, and Vishnu stands for the knowledge and the related splendor. Brahma stands for intelligent activity into the world. This is the basic triangle. And these exist in the lower sense as poise, dynamism, and inertia. So inertia makes people underactive. For example, if we have to sleep, we need inertia. Dynamism makes you active, sometimes overactive, and poise balances this dynamism and inertia. Normally in a human being, this triangle is distorted. It's not an equilateral triangle where all the degrees of the three angles, they are not equal. And hence he is either overactive sometimes, underactive sometimes, or generally the keynote is underactivity, or generally the keynote is overactivity. Either way it has consequences. So beyond there is a triple manifestation, which is spiritual and also when distorted non-spiritual. That's why the one who is beyond the nature, Aditi or Mula Prakriti, he is the one who is called the biggest one, and he is called the Guru. Guru means the biggest one. So that biggest one comes down through the mother as Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. So Guru only comes down as Brahma, as Vishnu, as Maheshwara. And he is verily Parabrahman. That's the meaning of the sloka which we recite. That is the Parabrahman, the God Absolute, the cosmic Lord of will, Lord of knowledge, and Lord of activity. They have all come to you, and you submit yourself to it. In the form of your teacher, the teacher brings them together to you. That's why the teacher. That's why the Lord Absolute is called Guru. The one who realized it is also called Guru. So the Guru in the human form is the transmitter of this spiritual triad and the one beyond. The one beyond the spiritual triad is first the mother, the light. And beyond the mother it is the Absolute. The Absolute has light, light has triple light and triple activity. So that is what you have to contemplate. So all contemplations are in the upper part of the head. That is called the cave of the great bear. Elugubanti Guha, Jambavantudu Guha. Only Krishna could enter into it in this story. Now starting with the cave of the lion. From the cave of the lion, which is in the heart, to the cave of the great bear, there is a great travel, a travel full of joy, full of splendor, full of even excitement. So this is what is to be contemplated daily through Gayatri Mahamantra. What it says, that's where we invoke the master or the teacher who is giving us this Mahamantra. The Guru comes from outside the community. He always lives away from the community in a very serene atmosphere, like our Tapovan, which is away from Bangalore hubbub. So the teacher comes from there into the community. After the ritual is done, he takes the boy with him out. And then he tells his parents, you may come once in a way, but don't stay with us, because you can't see what is being done to your child. Even if you are a prince, it is the same training. All have the same training. So in that training they are molded, and according to their major keynote of the soul, they are given to different vocations. Some are given to Vedic wisdom, others are given to the Kshatriya Dharma, still others are given to the Vaishya Dharma, and the rest are given to the Sutra Dharma. It is not the teacher that decides. The teacher observes and sees who is more inclined, who is comfortable with what. So that's how the Swadharma is seen and is encouraged. It's not that the teacher says you will do this, you will do that, you will do. It's the common program that runs for 7 years to all. So from 7th year to 14th year, he knows who is by soul quality is effortlessly getting into what activity. All would have all the 4 aspects. The bodily labor would be there, the exchange of the natural values is taught, protecting people is taught, and then Brahmajnana is given. Among these 4, which one shows up in which way in a good form, ultimately the second 7 years of training is given to them in those areas, and they are comfortable. They don't complain. So that's how the teacher impersonally conducts it. And after 21 years, they are allowed to go to Kasi, Varanasi, Banaras, to pursue further education. So on the way, a man who has a marriageable bride finds this student who just went through the convocation. That is how Snataka Vrata is done. The teacher does convocation, gives him a certificate that he can go to Banaras and pursue further. So as he moves, on the way, the teacher comes, a man comes with and offers his daughter in marriage. The knowledge that you have gained with your teacher make it a practically assimilated knowledge by rendering responsibilities to the society. Thereafter, when you fulfill your responsibilities, you can proceed in the later part of your life to Banaras. That's how going to Banaras and stopping him on the way becomes a part of the very frontal part of marriage ritual. So coming to Gayatri Mahamantra, the mantra speaks of the three worlds. Om. First you have to link up by saying Om. You have to link up the world of material, which is from diaphragm down below up to the feet. That is Bhuhu. Then the world of force, Bhuvaha. From above the diaphragm up to the brow is the field of force. And then Suvaha, the field of consciousness. So, consciousness, force, matter. This is what you are. And you link them up when you say Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. When you say Bhuh, you have to think of this. When you say Bhuvaha, you should feel the power of the being in between. That's where the shoulders, everything come in. Up to the brow center. Suvaha. Thereafter, Tat Savitur Varenyam. Om Tat Savitur. The one who is the basis for the very sun. Savitru is the central sun. Around him there are 12 suns, and the 12 solar systems exist. So you are going beyond your sun center to contact the solar center. Your sun center exists in your brow. The Savitru center exists in your Ajna. So you want from the third eye, from the Ajna, light may descend. What for? Varenyam. Let it descend from here and embrace the whole body with that light, with that energy. Tat Savitur Varenyam, let that light embrace me or embrace us. And for that reason, you contemplate upon even the source of that Savitru. The source of Savitru is whom we call Bhargo Deva. Bharga means it's an embodiment of flame. There are so many Bhargas. Bhargava is a name comes to sun from Bharga. These Bhargas, they are all splinters coming from the cosmic center. So each splinter can eventually become a solar center, Savitru, and then a planetary center, Sun, or may even become a comet. It's like our Vishnu Chakra, which we play with on Diwali, from the center, which is seemingly dark. The center is seemingly dark, and around that there are splinters of and sparks of light moving all around and around and around. That is what is called the cosmic center, or the center of Agni. Agni means the foremost one. So from there, that is the source for all these splinters. Each splinter is a Bhargava, is a Bhrugu, is a resplendent light. It's a cosmic splinter. And from out of it, the sun Savitrus are born, comets are born, and from out of Savitru, the sun centers are born. So that's what you see here as Sahasra. That's where, as far as your system is concerned, that cosmic center exists in your Sahasrara. That's why all those who are in advanced contemplations, effortlessly their eyes turn inward and go up. You see the picture of Babaji in Kriya Yoga. The idea is you are here and you are contemplating upon the Ajna center, so that the light gets into you and then spreads into your entire cerebrospinal system, to every nook and corner of your body, and that is a shower of light. And for that you are seeking that kind of embracement of that light of your whole system. And even that center, for that center to shower that kind of light, you are contemplating upon the source of that center. Bharga asya devaha అంటే the deva of the bhargas. There are so many bhrugus. You see in the story of Lord Venkateshwara how this bhrugu goes to Brahmaloka, Kailasha and Vaikuntha, and it's such a powerful being, Bhrigu Maharshi. His center is in us, the Bhrigu is in the Ajna. Above that it is called Attri. There are 7 centers, that's another story. So, you are contemplating upon the very source of light. Bharga asya devaha, ante the deva of the Bhargas. Dhimahi, we meditate. So, we meditate upon the source of all light, cosmic, solar, planetary. What for? So that light embraces you. And then, dhiyaha yonaha prachodayat, meaning it would stimulate, alert the will. That's the bridge between the soul and the body. So that has to happen. The higher mind is called Vaivasvata Manu. The soul is called Vivasvata. The son is called Vivasvata. His son is called Vaivasvata Manu. His son is called Ikshvaku. And even this Vivasvata, this son, has a higher center. That is the universal I am consciousness. That's the meaning of Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavan Aham Avyayam. I am the indestructible one, the eternal one, the all-permeating one. It's me who initiates the sun god. The sun god initiates Manu, the Buddhi, and then Buddhi functions through the mind and conducts work on the objectivity. That's the meaning of that grand sloka, which has all the 4 dimensions of the creation. So that's where there is, he says, I initiate you, so that I am consciousness, which is cosmic consciousness, exists in you. In your Sahasrara, you contemplate an Ajna sitting at the brow center, and then keep receiving the light. It's like receiving continuous shower of light as much as you sing. And it is called Gayatri, meaning Gayate iti trayate, meaning as much as you sing, so much light will come to you. And singing is not murmuring, putting your finger, thumb around the Yajnaveda and putting it in your dhoti. God knows what you are doing inside with the finger. That's not the way. It is supposed to be a collective singing. Because in the mantra it says of dhimahi, means we meditate. And then dhiyaha yonaha prachodayat. Dhiyaha means wills. Naha means ours. Our wills. Our will means more than one is sitting. So it's a groupal contemplation, groupal singing, and then you keep receiving this light. In spite of the strong objections of Orthodox Brahmins, now Gayatri Mahamantra is being chanted globally. No one can stop it. When time comes, it finds its own expression. Regardless these Orthodox people who build lot of barriers and put lot of hurdles all around and try to preserve it only for a select few. There is no such thing in the Vedic understanding. So it is being sung in the east, in the west, in the north, in the south, thanks to the work of the hierarchy. So that's how it is being done. So your job is not to miss this Gayatri mantra in the morning. Sing it, sing it, sing it, till every nook and corner of your body is filled with light. On one good day, when the bridge of Buddhi is built, your mind through Buddhi reaches the soul. That's where you have the enlightenment. That's how the mantra helps. So that has to be understood. Don't do anything without comprehension. If you do without comprehension, it becomes a routine. You are not tuned to it. You don't feel the phenomena happening in you. It is only your will that brings things down. So that's how you have to contemplate upon Gayatri Mahamantra. So those who are initiated into it, they have taken up to this consecration to cultivate the body so that it cooperates with the man, and also to build the bridge with the cosmic man. So cosmic man should be linked to the man, and man should be able to perform through the human vehicle. Then the work is accomplished. Further Gayatri Mantra is given. Let it be done with that kind of spirit every morning and every evening. And before you do that, you try to clean up your body, have fresh mind, and do it. Don't do it with a busy mind. Thank you. I thought I would only talk up to 7:30, but then to give a logical conclusion to the talk, I went up to almost 8 o'clock. So I thank you all. Please cooperate with the team who are organizing for us such a serene community living to experience group consciousness. Each one of us will try to live to the best of our ability in the master consciousness. Namaskar. Guru Puja celebrations, Guru Puja Mahotsava. When we think of Master CVV, we have to think of accomplishing the etheric body while we are in the physical body. That is the main objective with which the Master has come down to flesh and blood. He gave the simplest way for formation of the etheric body, which is accomplished only through one Vidya, that is Yoga Vidya. There is no other Vidya that makes you immortal. In Yoga Vidya, when we can accomplish the first 6 steps, that is up to dharana, then you are able to dealing from your body consciousness. People live in body consciousness and are deeply associated with the body. Their awareness is intertwined with the body, that they cannot wriggle out of it, and consequently the body dies. They too lose all that they have gained through that body. Just like the kernel within the peanut, unless it is disassociated with the outer layer, the peanut cannot survive beyond the outer layer. The peanut is more important than the layer. When the peanut is formed, it is the skin as well as the nut that grow together, and there is no distinction in the initial stages of the nut with the skin of the nut. But gradually as the peanut grows, the peanut disassociates with the skin that is around and remains within, unattached to the layer of the skin. Likewise, the human who is in the body of flesh and blood is deeply, intricately, complexly and complicatingly intertwined himself with the body, unless he can wriggle out of the body, he would die along with the body. That way, the human consciousness, which is essentially divine and mortal, suffers death. To come out of this death, what is important is to take to a way of life, a discipline by which you would gradually de-link with the body and yet live in the body. De-linking with the body and yet living with the body is the state of Mukta Sangha, meaning he is liberated from the attachment of the body. When once this is done, when the body falls, the man inside is intact. Just like when the skin layer of the peanut is destroyed, but the peanut is intact. So the peanut is the essence, the layer is its body. So also the human is the essence, and he should survive the body. That is the very objective of Yoga Vidya. Yoga Vidya today, like many other sacred, ancient concepts has been distorted. Many people think yoga is asanas, and many people think of some pranayama which they do not know what they are doing, and many people think of meditation which they do not know how to do. There are so many basics to be accomplished before one can think of meditation, or one can think of pranayama. It's not that you can breathe, so you get into pranayama. It's not that you propose with your mind that you do meditation, you will get into meditation. Today in the world, you listen so many people talking about meditation, yoga, pranayama, which are very sublime, which are more misunderstood than understood. So we need to make a proper understanding of Yoga Vidya, and what Master CVV has done to simplify this yoga so that the man can wriggle out of the body while he is alive. The man can dealing with the body while he is alive. The man should be able to move out of the body and move into the body while he is living in this body. The very Mrityunjaya Mahamantra also suggests this practice. We pray the Lord, Ishvara, that until you accomplish this delinking with the body, Mrityor Mukshiya, when you are linked with the body, you die. When you are delinked with the body, you can survive even after the body. So, don't let me die, and please help me until I delink with the tie that I have with the body, and the tie is threefold. The bodily ties are so strong, and consciously every yoga student is expected to work out to delink from every knot that he has with his own body. Then you find yourself in a body of light. So before we dealing with the body, we need to prepare the body of light. The body of light in Sanskrit is called Sukshma Sarira. It is the body of golden light. Then, in advanced stages, this body of golden light transforms further into the body of diamond light. That is called Karana Sarira. So there is Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Sariras. These are the three bodies essentially an adept has. He has the diamond body to cater to certain duties and responsibilities, the golden body that caters to certain duties and responsibilities, and a physical body to work out on the physical plane. All the masters of wisdom whom we adore, to whom we pay homage, and to whom we express our admiration, they are all the ones who accomplished these bodies and are living eternally as Chiranjeevis and trying to cooperate with the divine plan. Yoga Vidya is the only Vidya through which man can attain the subtle body or Sukshma Sarira. There is no other Vidya. You may have studied a lot of Jnana, but it doesn't help you. You may have studied Vedas, it doesn't help you. You may have been a great Vedantin, it doesn't help you. Even if you have been an excellent Adhyatmika, it doesn't help. That's why these Vedantins, Jnanis and Adhyatmikas, they only know that the world is an illusion and they don't relate to the world. They do not know that they can exist in the subtle worlds eternally and continue to work with the plan in cooperation with the divine. So these are the ones who have lost themselves in the field of knowledge because they do not get into the Urdhva Lokas, that is the subtle worlds. They are called Urdhva because they are Sukshma. Sukshma is Urdhva, Sthula is Adhas. So from gross to subtle, you should be able to move. If you are able to move from gross to subtle, in the subtle plane, the longevity is more. In subtler plane, the longevity is still more. In the subtlest plane, you are eternally living. This is how Yoga Vidya helps. It has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with your traditional practices. It has nothing to do with your family traditions. You may have all that for your own purposes to maintain a tradition so that the family is intact in the world. But what is important is that you take to yoga and work it out so that you gain immortality. Immortality is seen as the first step. And then realizing the Brahman is considered to be the second step. The first step is called Amaratva. The second step is called Brahmatva. This is how Isavasya Upanishad, the king of Upanishads, speaks of these steps. So also Katha Yoga speaks of this yoga. Katha Upanishad is nothing but yoga of Katha. It relates to the heart center. And Nachiketa is the one who accomplished the subtle body with the initiation given by the Lord Yama, that is the Lord of Death, Pluto. The story goes as under that the father of Nachiketa was engaged in a ritual of all sacrifice. He was sacrificing anything and everything on a daily basis. He has enormous wealth and he has been giving it away. The gold, the property, the houses, and he goes on, and the cows, goes on giving. Nachiketa, the 5-year-old boy, he asks every day his father, "Father, when would you give me away? When would you give me away?" This is how daily he asks him. Which father would like to give away his only son? So daily he was coming and asking such a question. Then the father was one day disgusted and said, I give you away to the Lord of Death. Go to hell. Go to the Lord of Death. So he sends him to the Lord of Death. How can it be? Can anyone send any of his child to the Lord of Death? That means the father of Nachiketa, he knew the art of moving into the other worlds. He is an adept. And he wanted his son also to gain the initiation relating to death, which is perhaps the best thing that a father should think of his son. Parents think of many other things for their children. Only an adept thinks that his child should also be immortal as he is. Because immortality is the real accomplishment of human life. Without that, you can take it according to these years, it's a life wasted. Many times we may come into human body, but if we cannot accomplish death, we have failed. Our success, according to this holy land, is measured by the degree of progress you have made in terms of gaining immortality. How much money you gained, how much fame you gained, how much service you have done. They are different. To gain immortality is entirely different. When you become immortal, you can consciously get into the body, you can consciously get out of the body, and you would have continuity of consciousness and function in such a continuity of consciousness. That is why all our scriptures, they start with death. Bhagavad Gita, the first teaching of the Lord is there is no death. Bhagavata, the first teaching of the Lord is there is no death. The illusion of and the myth of death shall have to be realized, not only just read and understood. So that is seen as the major work, and that work can be done only when one takes to yoga. So people who are bent upon are those who have firmly decided about accomplishing immortality. To them yoga, not to all. Atha Yoganusastram has many understandings. Man gives his own commentary about Atha Yoganusastram, because Atha Yoganusastram means now aphorisms of yoga. Now means when? Now means if you have decided to walk upon that path which would release you from your body through a discipline, through a way of life, and you have decided to work out for immortality, only to such persons yoga. That's the main work of yoga, and there is no other vidya which gives it as yoga gives. In other vidyas you may get a lot of knowledge, but if you die, the knowledge dies with you. But in yoga, you would continue to live. So if you continue to live, you have all the time in the universe to gain other branches of wisdom and even to gain Brahman. That's why the first step is immortality, the second step is accomplishment of Brahman, that is self-realization. Because no man can realize the self in one life. It's a huge process. And unless you have such continuity, you would lose time. That's how yoga is given. And hence, Nachiketa was sent to Yama only to learn the technique of this yoga. And that is what comes out as Nachiketa Vidya. Similarly, we have in Puranas one more story of Sati Savitri. The lady, as we see the movie or read the story in Mahabharata, we find that she accompanies the Lord of Death. When the Lord of Death carries along with him the life and the subtle body of her husband. How could a lady see the subtle body of her husband? Number one. Even if she could see, how could she see the Lord of Death, Yama? How could she see the subtle activity that is happening, that is movement of the life force and the subtle life force and the subtle body of Satyavan moving towards the Lord of Death, and the Lord of Death moving onward towards the subtle worlds in the south. How could a lady see that? She is herself a lady that accomplished subtle body. That's why her following Yama, the Lord of Death, was not with the physical body. When she could see that her husband's life is taken away, she dealings herself from her body of flesh and blood, moves in the subtle body along with the Lord of Death. And then by her knowledge, by her will and by her devotion, she pleases the Lord and gets the life of her husband back into the body of flesh and blood. That's how you have to understand the story of Savitri. Then we have another story, that is of Markandeya, who through worship of Lord Shiva and through practice of yoga, because Lord Shiva is considered to be the pranic principle. So the pranic principle, the thread of prana should be kept in us and should not be withdrawn until we accomplish yoga. If thread of life is withdrawn from the body, you are out. That's why the thread of life shall have to be retained until you accomplish immortality. So he was worshipping Lord Shiva on one hand to retain the body until he completes his job, and was working it out, and he too could accomplish. So these are the main stories that we come across when it comes to accomplishing immortality. And all these relate to yoga and the secrets of yoga only. Master CVV once again came into this world to give emphasis upon preparation of the subtle body or etheric body, so that you shall overcome death. It is expected that in the Aquarian age, a major part of humanity would realize the myth of death. According to the masters of wisdom, it should happen in about 3 centuries, that many people should know that there is no such thing as death. This is because of the advent of the energy from Sirius coming through the comet and manifesting through Master CVV. Master CVV is a great light from the ashram of Agastya, and he gave out the yoga for quicker formation of subtle body. The very purpose of Yoga Vidya is formation of subtle body. But then, to gain the subtle body, there are the necessary regulations. One additional advantage that Master CVV gave up to us is that he would conduct the necessary repair work in us for formation of the subtle body within our body of flesh and blood. Normally, in the yoga, we work out ourselves with the help of the guidance of a teacher of Raja Yoga path or Hatha Yoga path. But Master CVV said, you cannot work it out. I will work it out for you. Only thing is, every morning and every evening, consciously submit yourself to me, seeking formation of the subtle body and its delinking with the body of flesh and blood. So when you see yoga either in the Ashtanga, eightfold path of yoga, or in Bhagavad Gita, you find one thing very common. People who are concerned about themselves, about their outer life, about the progress in the outer life, they are not fit to get into yoga. Yoga is for those who have already made it their nature that they live for others. Only those who have accomplished that evolution, that they live for others, they work for others, not for themselves. People who think of themselves, their health, their family health, their family progress, their material prosperity, they can worship so many deities. They'll help you to do that. But then don't call yourself a yoga student. Yoga is not for that. Yoga is for accomplishment of the subtle body. That's why when you think of yoga, you should have already been a person who is substantially oriented to work for the surrounding life, for the welfare of the surrounding life. Even if you take the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord speaks of Nishkama Karma Yoga. You have to do what is to be done, and it's not with the desire that you do it. Because you have to do what you have to do, keep doing it. By not doing it, you have consequences. By improperly doing it, you have consequences. By overdoing it, you have consequences. By underdoing, you have consequences. Do as much as you have to so that you can live in this world. But that cannot be taken as already some state of enlightenment. You cannot consider that you are already a very enlightened being just because you are engaged in acts of service to fellow beings. The life orientation itself shall have to change, that you live for others as you wake up, and you do your tapas or meditation for formation of the subtle body. That is how a yoga student is supposed to know the basics of yoga. If you don't follow the basics of yoga and hang around some great adept, it's only your glamour and you gain nothing. If you wish to gain anything materially, or wish to gain health, wish to secure your family, there are so many other rituals, there are so many other deities whom you can worship. You have your family deities, you can worship those deities and get fulfilled in your worldly life. The devas cannot help you to fulfill. You are accomplishing Brahman. You are accomplishing immortality. They cannot help you. Please note this. That's why Lord Krishna says in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you have to pull up yourself. Uddharet atman atmanam. Pull up your self, your consciousness, your human consciousness, your soul consciousness. Pull it up from the body consciousness. Unless you pull it up, it pulls you down. I told you yesterday, the program of the body is in opposition to the program of the soul. The body's program is, it wants to sleep, it wants to take rest, it wants to eat. And the soul's program is, it wants to get up very early in the morning, 2 hours before the dawn, and it wants to engage in contemplation